Welcome to the Kindness Principles podcast. I believe kindness is a cultural strategy that empowers people to create meaningful lives, healthier relationships, stronger organizations, and a world where everyone can thrive. My name is Cindy Smarsh, and I'm really glad you're here. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here today. For those of you watching on YouTube, you see I brought my fever blister with me to work today. Sorry for the beautiful swollen spot on my lip. Oh my. I think it was from the extreme heat, actually, that we're like half the country is experiencing right now. I spend a lot of time outdoors because we live on 10 acres and it requires a lot of love. And plus, I just love to be out in nature. So, anyway, I've developed this beautiful thing on my lip. So, anyway, that's not why we're here today at the Kindness Principles podcast. Today, I want to talk about indifference in the workplace and what to do about it and how this is kind. And I'm going to reference another book for you today, like I did last time, this one's called The Kindness Revolution by Ed Horrell, I think is how you say his name, Horrell. Ed Horrell, The Kindness Revolution, the company-wide culture shift that inspires phenomenal customer service. This book is an absolutely essential read if you want to change the culture of your workplace through, outstanding, respectful, kind customer service, and also to, with your teams and so on and so forth, not just with the customers. That's what he focuses on, but he talks about so much more than that. Anyway, a lot of companies he visited and interviewed and went and spoke to representatives of and researched and so forth. Names that you will recognize: Nordstrom, Ritz-Carlton, Chick-fil-A, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and many, many more. But today I want to focus for a second on St. Jude's Children's Hospital located in Memphis, Tennessee, because the author was extremely impressed with how he felt the culture of the workplace, of the company, just going on a tour through there and paying a visit for the reason, for research of this book. So one of the things he noticed was that no matter who he had contact with, walking through the halls, touring the facility, no matter who it was, whether it was someone in the technology department, a nurse, an executive, a janitor, someone in the cafe, a doctor, it didn't matter who it was, every single person greeted him and smiled and gave direct eye contact and had a very positive, respectful exchange with him. And he noticed the details, the focus of details on serving their primary customers, which of course are children who are ill and their families. And I could go on and on and on all day about it, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I mean, everything from the colors painted on the walls to the heights of things being, accommodated for children, child-sized things everywhere, spaces for families, parents, siblings to take care of themselves while they're spending hours and hours and days and weeks at the hospital, and so on and so forth. But another extremely important point that he made in this book about this visit that I want to emphasize today is he saw firsthand the living out of the mission of St. Jude's in every single employee, in every role. Okay, so he really got the sense and witnessed and experienced firsthand everybody in the company working there being mission minded and understanding that no matter what department they were in and whether they had direct contact with the patients and their families or not, how important the role they were playing there was to serving those children and their families. So in other words, there was great meaning behind the work for everyone there because of how mission minded they are, how clearly they communicate the importance of the work, and how everybody's role is critical in the accomplishment of serving these customers of theirs properly. And this, my friends, is kindness at work in motion. It is kind to the customers, to the employees, to the company as a whole, to be mission minded, be clear about what you're all doing there and how everybody is connected in their roles, and everybody's important in their roles in fulfilling the responsibilities and the mission of the company. So, I've talked to lots of people who work for lots of kinds of companies, and many people have told me, "Oh yeah, we have a mission. It's on our homepage on our website. Yeah, or it's in one of the hallways on the wall, but we never talk about it, and it's not really something we address, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." So, your mission isn't there just for people visiting your website to know what your mission is. Your mission is to help change the trajectory of the workplace well-being of your team, right? Because when we feel like our work really matters, that wakes something up within us that is really important. It feels really good, and it will lower the indifference that you might be sensing from people who are working with you, and it will increase the morale of those around you. And this is kind. It drives success for everyone to have that sense. So I like what he said here. The employees at St. Jude act as if they are on a mission. They are polite and will stop and speak to you, but you can clearly sense that they know what it is they are all about, every single one of them. It should also be pointed out that these employees are not motivated by stock options, dividends, or money. St. Jude is considered a great place to work, but not because of higher than normal pay rates. There's another reason folks want to work there. She said he asked an employee in the information technology department what it's like to have a job at St. Jude. She has no direct contact with the children in the hospital, but rather provides support for the operation. But her response was typical. Quote, "Oh my gosh, I can't tell you what it means to me, especially on a bad day, to walk over into the dining room and have lunch with those patients and their families. If I ever feel a need to know my place, that's all I have to do." So in other words, it's very meaningful. Her work's very meaningful. It gives her a feeling of passion for her work. And he wrote an entire chapter about this visit and how employee after employee after employee, shared their strong sense of mission and showed, how meaningful their work was to them. And that's the thing. If you want a team that's excited to be there, if you want people to feel good about getting up early in the morning and getting themselves to work, help them be mission minded, and their indifference will go away. So here are some other rules he has in his book, The Kindness Revolution, for eliminating indifference in the workplace. He says, use people's names, eliminate cutesy names like sweetie, honey, all of that, but rather use their actual names, because this shows respect and regard for people. And Then to always make eye contact and remember that the first 15 seconds we spend with anyone really sets a tone for how that interaction feels to us. Okay. Find out what is important to people and by practicing active listening. So, again, as leaders, especially, I think we feel a pressure to do the talking, to direct everything, to provide answers for everything. But if you can also learn to listen and actively listen every day, when you're at the office, you are going to learn a whole lot about what's important to your team members and what makes them feel really good, what matters to them a lot at work, or what they think would be helpful to move the company forward, and so forth. Always be polite and say thank you, and it's a pleasure to work with you. Of course, practice non-defensive behavior. Pay attention to your etiquette, he says, and remember that every job is important and help the employees understand how important their job is every single time. Let's see. He says, teach people, empower them that if they see a problem to fix it. The "it's not my job" syndrome must be eliminated from every company. Employees should be taught that organizational charts have nothing to do with solving problems, which is so interesting. My husband works at a place where they're all owners as well. They're not just, team members, they're owners. And so they're constantly saying to them, make decisions like an owner would. Make a decision like an owner would, not an employee, but like an owner would. So to be have ownership mindset. So you really feel responsible. You step up, you take care, You are your company. I love that. You are your company. So remember that you're always representing your company, even if you're on the phone with someone, if you have a meeting with someone, if you're out sharing where you work and you're talking about it, you're representing the company. And so anyway, he goes on and on. There's several suggestions he makes there that I'll tell you, I'll repeat myself because this is so, so important. What we've learned this year from, thousands and thousands of employees being surveyed in 2026 is that what matters to them at most at work is feeling like their work is recognized and that they have connection and belonging with other workers, and that the leadership really cares about them and that what they're doing matters. And so when they don't have those three things, they can develop an indifference. They might quietly quit. Their job satisfaction will go down. They're not going to produce their best work. So really, really anything that you can do to create greater connection and belonging and help them see big picture how what they're doing in their little corner or their little cubicle or on the, in the other building or a remote location or whatever it is that it is truly, truly, wholeheartedly critical to the full picture of what's going on with the mission in the company. This, my friends, is kind. Kindness is not just fluff, being nice. It is being nice, but it's not just a soft skill. It's a powerful business approach where you are intentionally doing things to uplift the people that you work with and creating a culture where everybody can thrive. So thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to our show and share this episode with anyone who can benefit. If you'd like to learn more about how the kindness principles can change your life, please DM me on LinkedIn. And thanks again for listening.